This Broncos-Colts matchup on Sunday actually might be the biggest game for the Denver Broncos since they played the Carolina Panthers in Super Bowl 50. I know that sounds like a little bit of a stretch, but I was racking my brain and going through previous schedules, and I can't think of a game that had larger playoff implications than this one. Were there other games that might have had more emotional polls, first game of the season for Russell Wilson, things like that? Yes, but actual playoff implications, this is the biggest one since Denver played in Santa Clara. So let's look at the playoff picture really quickly before we talk all about this matchup. Denver currently is holding on to the 7th seed in a three-way tie with the Ravens and Chargers all at 8-5. They do not have the tiebreaker over Baltimore, and they will play the Chargers in a week and a half on Thursday Night Football. But when it comes to this Sunday against the Colts, who are also coming off a bye, by the way, win 87% chance of making the playoffs. Lose, and it falls down to 40%. Why the 47% drop? Well, if the Broncos lose, they still have a one-game advantage over Indianapolis, but they no longer hold the head-to-head tiebreaker. Plus, if you look at the rest of the Broncos schedule, they've got playoff team, good team, playoff team. Look at the Colts remaining schedule, and it is much easier. Sucks more. Sucks not as much as this one because they just beat them, but still sucks. Like 3 very easy games. So if Denver were to slip up just once and Indianapolis finishes 3-0 after knocking off the Broncos, they'd have the head-to-head tiebreaker, and so they would get in. That is why this game is so crucial for the Broncos. So let me ask you, do you feel like it is the biggest game since Super Bowl 50? I think it really might be. Like, this game has huge implications for the playoffs this year and also a little bit of that emotional, psychological feel of it's almost a decade since Denver's really been relevant. They haven't had a winning season since 2016, and you've got a great opportunity to secure that with a win, and you finish at least 9-8, if not better. Now let's talk about this matchup here and get you guys ready for it. So, some injuries to go over. Denver comes in pretty healthy, I'd say. No one's 100% at this stage of the season, but Riley Moss is still dealing with the knee injury. I do not expect to see him play on Sunday against the Colts, so we'll see what Denver prepares for, whether it's Levi Wallace, Damari Mathis, or Chris Abrams-Drain. Likely a combination of those 3 guys filling in for Moss. And then Brandon Jones, he left the last game against the Browns on Monday night with a groin injury. Hopefully after the bye, he is ready to roll because I'm sure the Broncos do not want to lose another piece of their secondary. Meanwhile, the Colts injury list is a little bit longer, but they are relatively healthy-ish. So Josh Downs, he missed their last game before the bye with a shoulder injury. Second-year man out of North Carolina. Sidebar, is Bill Belichick really about to be the next head coach of the Tar Heels? Their backup, who is a special teams ace, Doolan, he's also dealing with an ankle injury. And then their starting center, Ryan Kelly, was placed on IR. He is able to come off of injured reserve this week. And that would be a good thing for Indianapolis because their backup center is also injured, and he missed the last game with a concussion. But who knows coming out of the bye week whether or not these guys are ready to roll. Now, looking at these two teams from a step back a little bit, the Broncos offense against the Colts defense, there's nothing that really jumps out to me as like a oil meets water here. I mean, I'd say Denver's offense is not very far off from where Indianapolis' defense is this year. Colts are giving up a lot of yards. That's definitely something to note. Another thing is Indianapolis' third down defense, bad. 45% conversion rate for opposing teams. We'll talk more about that later on. Meanwhile, the Colts offense against a very good Denver defense, right? Second in points allowed, top 10 in yards per game, second best defense in the red zone, allowing teams to only score 43% of the time in the end zone. And takeaways has definitely gone up for the Broncos. 18 overall, that's top 10 in the NFL. Meanwhile, the Colts have been prone to turn it over. They are 27th in turnovers this year. Now, we're going to go over some keys to victory in just a second here, but I was looking over the YouTube analytics, and we've had a really great month so far. It's only been a third of December, but 640 subscribers. Meanwhile, last month in November, we had 1,100 subscribers. So we're definitely on pace to crush the month of November. Help me do that by clicking that subscribe button down below, and let's get ourselves to 30,000 1,000 subscribers as a channel. First key to victory for Sean Payton: limit the explosive air yards. So I want to point out a very jarring stat that is unlike any other quarterback in the NFL, and that is Anthony Richardson's average depth of target. This might seem like a little bit of mumbo jumbo, but stick with me for a second here. Your average depth of target measures when a quarterback drops back and throws the football, how far from the line of scrimmage is the intended receiver. Whether he catches it or not, does the quarterback often go for short dump down passes, right? A little bit of a check down Charlie, or does he like to push the ball down the field? Anthony Richardson is in his own tier. His average depth of target when he throws the ball is 13 yards from the line of scrimmage. Look how close 2 through 5 are. I've really never seen anything like this. He is playing a different game. He is going for the Hail Mary for the home run every single time, it feels like. His completion percentage reflects that. I'm not sharing this as hey, this is a really good thing. Every team should throw the ball down the field like Richardson. No, if you do that, you're not going to complete many passes. That's why his completion percentage is below 50%. Passing yards, 1,500. He's missed some time this year with an injury and then a little bit of a benching, but he's come back from that. He's played some solid football the last couple of weeks, helping Indianapolis get back in the mix here. But when it comes to his rushing ability, I understand that there is a little bit of fear on that side. He scored 4 times on the ground this year. All 4 have come inside the 10-yard line. So he's definitely a good rusher, and he's not just only a good rusher inside the 10, but that is where he makes his bread and butter. That's where the points come from. He's not like Kyler Murray, for example, who we've seen rip off long runs from the 20, 30, 35, 40, and just find a way into the end zone. Richardson has a huge frame, and they use that in the red zone, so that's definitely something to limit as well. But before we look at the other keys to victory for the Broncos, I do want to give a shout out to our sponsor today, Prize Picks. Prize Picks is the best place to get real money sports action. With over 10 million members and billions of dollars in awarded winnings, Prize Picks has made daily fantasy sports accessible to all. The way it works is you pick more or less on at least 2 players for a shot to win up to 100 times your cash. But over the holiday season, you could see that number go up even more to maybe 200 times your cash. So here are my selections for this week. I got Patrick Mahomes on a bit of a bold take here. More for half a passing yard. Prize Picks is just giving you that for the holiday season. And then I'm taking the less on Josh Jacobs against the Seahawks and the more on Rome Odunze against the Vikings after his standout game against the 49ers. Prize Picks also offers Venmo for quick and easy deposits and withdrawals into your account this sports season. Download the app today and use code CLNS to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. All of that information is in the comments and description of today's video. Download the app today and use code CLNS to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. Prize Picks, run your game. Second key to victory: aggressive on first down. Why aggressiveness on first down for the Indianapolis Colts? Because the Colts are a bad third down team. So if you find yourself in a spot where, hey, after being aggressive on first down and missing a deep shot, we now find ourselves a little bit behind schedule on 2nd and 10, that could turn into 3rd and 7 or 3rd and 8. This is a Colts defense where you can get away with that. They are 29th in the NFL on stopping teams on third down. So, other teams that have a much stouter third down defense, you have to win on first and second down to make third down much more manageable. For the Colts, they are not doing a great job of slowing teams down on this, so you should take advantage of it on first and second down, knowing we still got a good shot of converting on third down, even if it's not less than 5 yards away. So I looked over the Broncos play calling. On first down this year, they are calling pass plays 46% of the time. That is right smack dab in the middle of the NFL, 16th. They are calling run plays 53% of the time, which is good for 17th in the NFL. So how have opposing quarterbacks that have faced the Colts this year that have beaten Indianapolis fared when it comes to being aggressive, right? I can look at this like average depth of target. How often are they pushing the ball down the field? And you can see that of the 7 quarterbacks that have knocked off Indianapolis, some of them have a different offensive scheme. Like the Lions, for example, are not a team that loves to throw the ball wildly down the field. They like to keep things a little bit closer and trust their receivers with yards after the catch. So their average depth of target was a little bit lower than other quarterbacks. But as a whole, on average, 6.8 yards average depth of target. Meanwhile, Bo Nix, over the last 6 weeks, he has had no problem pushing the ball down the field. 11.5 against the Browns. 10.5 against the Panthers. Over 7.5 against the Ravens, the Chiefs, and over 7 for the Raiders. Now, I'm not sharing this to tell you guys, hey, if you want to be a good football team, you have to have a high average depth of target. No, that's not the message I'm trying to get across here. It worked just fine against the Falcons having a short average depth of target because that's what the game plan called for, right? They saw a Falcons defense that was banged up and wasn't tackling well, so they got the ball out quickly and used their speed to their advantage. But looking at this Colts defense, with their poor third down performance, I'd like to see Denver be a little bit more aggressive through the air on first down, because right now they are right in the middle at 16th. So let's see that 46% maybe turn into 55 or 60%, knowing if it doesn't work out, okay, we've still got second and third down because this Colts defense is not very good on third down. So I would like to see a little bit more aggression on first down play calling against this Indianapolis defense. Take advantage of their poor third down defense by putting the pressure on first down. We have one more key to victory to look at in just a second here, but predict the score for me. I'm going to give you my score prediction at the end of the video, but Broncos versus Colts, let me know down below. Third and final key to victory is feed Courtland Sutton. This is just a simple, 1 + 1 = 2. Courtland Sutton has been balling out recently. Don't overthink it. Don't try and get too creative. Go to the hot hand. It is working. Look at Sutton's numbers the first 7 weeks of the season versus the last 6 games of the season. It's essentially doubled across the board, right? Doubled receptions, doubled yards, and almost doubled touchdowns in one fewer game. Don't overthink it. Don't try and outfox them. Don't try and think, well, they know we're going to go to Sutton, so let's avoid. No, don't. Sutton's been awesome. Throw the ball to 14. Good things happen when you go to Courtland Sutton this year. In fact, take it one step further. In this 6-game stretch, he is second in the NFL in receiving yards, trailing his former teammate Jerry Jeudy, but ahead of guys like Jamar Chase and Puka Nacua. So Sutton is riding a hot streak right now. Keep it going. You don't leave the table when you're hot. Meanwhile, the Colts secondary is not a bad secondary. I'm not trying to say this is a major mismatch here. Kenny Moore, when they move into a nickel defense, he usually goes from outside to inside. That's where he's played at least majority of his snaps this year. But Jalen Jones and Samuel Womack, those are some solid corners, but there's no Pat Surtain on the other side. They don't have a true shutdown corner that can just take a guy out of the game like PS2 can. So I would like to see Denver continue to feed Sutton. I'm going to have a little bit of a BF if we find out at halftime Sutton has 1 target and no receptions. Like that to me screams recipe for disaster. So one more time, give me those score predictions down below. My score prediction coming up in just a second here on the channel. I'm going to say the Denver Broncos beat the Indianapolis Colts 27-25. I think it's going to be a close game, but I'm kind of just closing my eyes and picturing the celebration of the players running off the field, this home crowd cheering on a team that will essentially have almost locked up a playoff spot for the first time since winning the Super Bowl nearly a decade ago. And that's just kind of what's running through my head right now. So give me a Will Lutz go-ahead field goal with a minute to go, and Anthony Richardson throws an interception with 30 seconds left to seal their fate. That will do it for us on today's episode. Hope you guys enjoyed our preview. If you did, give us a like down below.